Hey, Camilo.
Hi, Lee. Great to see you.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see you. Camilo, I have heard you make statements in the past, something to the effect of the border isn't just where people think it is, or the
Mm.
border is everywhere. Can you tell us what you mean by these statements?
Yeah, I think what's key is if we think about this from the perspective of the communities that are most impacted by U.S. immigration policy and by policies at the border and beyond, because of course, U.S. immigration policy extends beyond U.S. borders to Mexican territory and so on. I think what we see in our communities is how every decision that's made at the border in terms of policy or in Washington, D.C., has a local impact. Because the US increasingly is one of the most globalized societies in the world, with people from over 100 countries in many communities and in schools and at health centers and so on. And this is what makes the US such a thriving and dynamic society and such a rich society in the cultural and spiritual sense. So I think in that sense, everybody who has either an immigrant experience of their own or in their family, in their heritage, I think looks at the US as a much more complex entity than maybe we assume. And the border is in that sense present in each of their lives, in each of their histories and experiences as a family. And what we see in communities is, for example, increasingly with the militarization of the border, is also the militarization of communities as far away as New York, Chicago, San Francisco, LA, et cetera, because it's an overall pattern of militarizing the police. And that includes immigration enforcement in many contexts. And of course, there's an overall encouragement through federal policy and law of state and local participation in immigration enforcement. And it takes varying forms and there are varying incentives. But the bottom line is that's one way to fund a local police department and its equipment and its efforts. So there's a lot of dangers there. And also there are very concrete ways in which you are subject to immigration enforcement, to the work of ICE anywhere in the US. In that sense, the border is not simply that 100-mile zone along the peripheries of the country or at the ports. It's in every neighborhood and it's inside every family, because most immigrant families have mixed status. Some may well be legally documented or citizens, others may not be. And all of that may come together, and some may work for the Border Patrol and some may be subject to deportation. So all of that is part of our complex reality.
So it's not just a metaphysical statement you're making. This has concrete impact on people all across the country, no matter where they come from or their ancestry.
Absolutely. And it's how we live our lives. In the last few days, many of us in communities of Latin American origin, Latinos, Latinas, have been commemorating the Days of the Dead. This was just recently done in Uvalde, Texas, for example, which is one of the communities we'll be, making a very special stop at in respect and in sympathy with those who lost so many young lives in Uvalde. And, the Day of the Dead is as vibrant in a place like Uvalde or here in the Mission District of San Francisco or the streets of Chicago or New York as it is in the streets of Mexico City. And so in that sense, the border is not present as a dividing factor, but as a way to unite us across those imaginary lines.
Great point. Thanks, Camilo.
Thank you, Lee.